Hello and welcome to another Army Showcase. Now, the Army Showcase is where we look at different armies from different games. Now, in this video, we will be continuing the showcase of the Carthaginians that came in the Warlord Games' Epic Battles Hail Caesar Hannibal set. We did the unboxing for this video. The link for that video is in the description. And with that, we want to quickly recap all the videos in this series. Again, all links are in the description. We first did the Roman Watchtower. We then did the Gallic Celt Infantry. The next painting batch was the Libyan Heavy Infantry. And the last ones I painted were the Numidian Infantry and Cavalry. Now, after that, I pretty much took a short break because I needed it. When I decided to get back to finishing this army, I decided on doing the Liby-Phoenician cavalry. Now, I did a bit of research, get ready to paint, and here's what I found. Now, the Liby-Phoenician cavalry was one of the most versatile and effective units in Hannibal Barca's army during the Second Punic War. Their name reflects their origins, a blend of North African Libyan and Phoenician descended Carthaginian cultures. Now, this mix produced a formidable force that combined local horsemanship with Carthaginian discipline and tactics. Renowned for their speed and adaptability, the Liby-Phoenicians typically served as medium or heavy cavalry. Armed with spears, shields, and sometimes swords, they balanced protection and mobility, making them highly effective in both direct charges and hit-and-run skirmishes. Their horses, bred in North Africa, were prized for their stamina and agility, traits that allowed these cavalry units to perform in grueling conditions. Now, one of their most significant contributions came in the Battle of Cannae in 216 BCE. Hannibal faced a Roman army nearly twice the size of his own, yet his tactics turned the odds in his favor. The Libyan cavalry crushed the Roman cavalry on the flanks, enabling Hannibal to encircle the Roman legions and achieve one of the most decisive victories. Now, this battle is still celebrated as a masterclass in military strategy. The Liby-Phoenicians were more than just skilled riders, they were resilient. They marched with Hannibal's army through the harsh terrain of the Alps into Italy, enduring extreme hardships and continuing to play a critical role in his campaigns. Their adaptability made them indispensable in a wide range of battlefield scenarios, from frontal assaults to long pursuits of retreating enemies. Beyond their battlefield prowess, the Libyan cavalry symbolized the unity within Hannibal's army, which brought together a diverse peoples under Carthaginian leadership. Their effectiveness and loyalty were a testament to Hannibal's ability to forge a cohesive fighting force out of such diversity. The legacy of the Libyan cavalry is a lasting reminder of the innovation and strategy that categorized Carthaginian warfare. They were not only crucial to Hannibal's success, but also a key example of how mobility and precision can triumph over sheer numbers in battle. Now, all this information was enough to get me excited about painting this part of Hannibal's army. Now, very quickly, let's have a look at one of the figures from the frame and the process I went painting it. All right, so let's look at the figure very quick. This is one of the 5 poses that you get inside each screw. So there are 5 poses for the 5 positions on the cavalry figure base. It's a very nice looking figure. There's a reasonable amount of detail on it, which makes it easier to paint if you ask me. Now, what I did next was I used this to base my figure. This is the War Paints Matte Gray
the air primer, simply because you don't really need to dilute this down, and you get a quite a nice matte looking finish with it, um, which is a great base to start painting any figure. Something flat. If you get your basing done flat, the paints are going to go on above. The figure will look better. So yeah, I do recommend using this matte gray as your brush on spray. Or you can use it as an airbrush, which is what it's intended for. If you ask me, yeah. So next up, I decided to put on the horses. Now, for these horses, I've decided to choose a particular kind of brown, and I'm using the mocha skin, simply because I wanted a more reddish looking horse. Now, all of this, of course, will be muted darker once we start putting the, uh, the washes on and start painting more detail. But this is just the base. The mocha skin is just the base. As for the cape, I decided to use alien purple for this, and I think this is consistent with the alien purple I use for the infantry. So in that sense, there will be some a unifying color for the whole army. Some of the shields will probably be using this purple as well, alien purple. So there. Right. So next up was to do the skin. As you can see, the face sculpts are really good. If and nobody was convinced of how nice these figures look, here you go. They look really really good. And like I said, when the figures are nicely painted, nicely sculpted, it's easier to paint. And for this skin tone, I use this is a dorado skin, uh, but of course this is just the base for this. Later when I start using the washes, things will start getting more yellow and brown and stuff, but it's just the base for the figure. Finally, I put on the helmet, and the helmet is basically a weapons bronze and a matte white. And as you can see, it's coming together quite nicely. I'm leaving the shields for the very last color to put on, and then there's the reins, and then the spear. Spear I'll probably be using the Vallejo Saddle Brown, which is what I like to use. But I haven't painted this yet. So hopefully next time you see this, I will put a one figure to see what it looks like on its own. Just for you to appreciate the good work that Wallet Games has put into this figure. It's very very nice, and totally appreciate it. You know,
The painting of the Libby-Phoenicians was quite straightforward. I kept the cloaks pretty standard with purple. I read that the Libby-Phoenicians were disciplined, and I read that as a regular force, so I standardized the tunics as well. The shields were interesting to do. Now, Walnut Games gave a set of designs. The problem I had was that there were only two colors of these of decals. The design were either black, white, or a mixture of black and white. This meant that when it came time to decide on the colors of the shields, I had to choose red, white, bronze, blue, and purple so I could use all the decals. There were not that many, so for me at least, I had to be extra careful not to ruin any. I initially wanted to give the shields a bronze rim, but the shields did not have a guide to paint the rims in. Also, one of the colors I chose for the shield was going to be bronze, and the rim would not be able to be seen. I was not so sure if my freehand would last 50 miniatures required to finish as well. So, because of all of that, yep, I left the shields pretty plain. The figures come in five poses, which was brilliant, as this meant that I could arrange them in as many different ways as I could, with the end goal of having as much variety as possible over the 10 bases. Looking back, this force was actually a good choice for me getting back to finishing this army. It's small enough not to be burnt out so quickly, but also large enough to be substantial to feature in a showcase. Now, I got this force done in under a month. It was a little slow by my standards, but it's just means I need to get back into the groove of painting again. So this force joins the rest of the figures on the display cabinet, waiting for more units to join as well. Now, I just need to decide what to do next. Now, if you're following the progress of this project, I thank you for your support. If you're new, watch the other Epic Battles Hail Caesar videos that I've done. Links are in the description. Now, I hope you enjoy the video. Like and subscribe. And as always, don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.